bring greetings from the Mile Gully District of Churches, where I pastor. And also let me bring warm welcome from my wife, Minerva, and our son, Jasher, and our daughter, Jai. It's quite a pleasure to be with you for the week, to getting to know you. I'm seeing various names. I can see some names that sound African, so I know they are Africans at Croydon. And I'm seeing a lot of West Indian last names, so I can already tell there are a lot of Jamaicans and West Indians in the house, Francis and Smith, and I'm seeing Kudum. I'm thinking that Kudum, I'm hoping I'm having the pronunciation correct, is African. And so welcome. I'm very happy to be here and accept greetings from my family and from my district of churches. I did a little research about Croydon Seventh-day Adventist Church, and I was informed by persons who frequent Croydon and persons who follow Croydon, and they indicated to me that they know Croydon as a church with good worship. They sing well and they are well organized. It's a church with plenty ecclesiastical muscle, and that's the church they told me I would be with, and I'm quite excited to be with you for the week. I have listened appreciatively to what Pastor said, and we'll bear that in mind every presentation that we do to be inclusive, where we incorporate all the systems within the family and within the church also. I must thank Elder Carlton Francis for the back and forth, really done a good job, and want to extend gratefulness for the extension of the invitation from your pastor through the family life leader, Elder Francis, and his family, his wife, for this invitation to be here. Something was said in the preliminaries this evening, and it is very correct. There is an epidemic of divorce. In fact, when we look at divorce rates across the globe, it has gone up. And many of us believe it is the pandemic that would have caused that. But even before the pandemic, the trend was increasing silently. We never really took note of it, but it has just blown out of proportions. And I want to say, whenever there is a lot of divorce, whether it is in a community, whether it is within a church, there is a socio-economic impact on the church, on the community. So the Lord really wants us to preserve our families. He really wants us to have this aspect of our Christian experience and up to optimum performance. And I am hoping that through these 5 seminars, we are going to be blessed. I have a disclaimer here. Presentations and seminars don't change people. And if you are not willing to practice what you would have learned here tonight, it's not going to do you any good. It will just go here and end up into the left ear. So I am very much encouraging you to practice the skills learned. We will go through many skills. We will go through many information that will serve to inform you. So we are going to begin our first presentation, and I encourage you also to invite your friends, invite your families, and invite the other churches in your area to this wonderful event. Allow me to share my screen. Decoding Ephesians 5:33. And the Bible says, let each one of you so love his wife as himself. And let the wife see that she respects her husband. Let us pray. Father, grateful to speak as an oracle for you, grateful to speak on the topic of family life at Croydon SD. Thank you, dear Father, for the 33 of us who are here. Let your Holy Spirit invade our homes, O Father. And where there is low level of marital satisfaction, you will improve it, Father, through this seminar and beyond, is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen. And amen. Now, as I said before, especially in Jamaica, let me talk about Jamaica since I live in Jamaica. In the year 2020 or 2001, Jamaica recorded 1,651 approximately divorces. In 2007, it increased to about 1,900. By 2013, we were in the 2000s. So 20 years ago, we recorded just approximately 1,500 recorded divorces. But 20 years after, 2022, we are at 8,000. In fact, the divorce rate in Jamaica is at alarming rates. Not only that, fewer people are getting married and more people are getting divorced. It is truly a cause for concern. Why is it a cause for concern? It is a cause for concern because the family has two fundamental subsystems. One, the couple subsystem, and then there is the sibling subsystem. So whatever happens in the couple subsystem, the relations between husband and wife, how they interact, the level of marital satisfaction in the couple, it's going to impact parenting. It's going to impact what happens in the sibling subsystem. And that is why it is the foundations of family life. It is Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 33. If this is gotten correctly, if we get a handle on Ephesians 5:33, then it lays the platform for family life down through the 8 developmental stages that the family goes through, which we will talk about in the coming days or even perhaps today. Now, for those who are single and those who want to be married, we have a high number of single ladies in our church and they just cannot find a man. And they will say that the men are just not present. We don't find them. What do we do? And so there are more single ladies, a lot of single ladies within our church system, and they cannot find a man. And likely or similarly, there are people or men who just cannot find a woman too. And so whether you are married, whether you are single, whether you are a child, we need to all get a handle on Ephesians 5:33. We need to decode it appropriately. We need to know what it means and we need to move forward with it and ensure that we are achieving it. So if you are a bachelor, or let us say you are single and you're a man, you need to know what is a husband, how a husband functions in the home. There are too many young men who are approaching relationship and they do not know the meaning of a husband. What does a husband do? Who is a husband? They do not know, and too many young ladies do not know the function of a wife. Too many young ladies, I ask them in premarital counseling, and they tell me, me never think of that yet, you know. I've never thought about what is the substantive role of a husband and the substantive role of a wife. And I will say, well, if you do not know what a husband is or what a husband does, then perhaps we must get some level of teaching before we can get into the marriage arena. So let us move on with our presentation. Now, Paul said, there is somebody writing on the screen. I wonder if somebody is messing around. Paul said, let each one of you love his wife as himself.
Excuse me, Pastor.
Yeah.
Remember to select slideshow for your presentations, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let every one of you love his wife as himself, and let the wife see that she respects her husband. Now, that is a tall order. This is something Paul said. Paul went as far in Titus chapter 2, verses 1 through 10 to say that wives must obey their husbands. And there are some wives who protest in fact, no, Paul did not mean that. This is not what Paul meant. And we are not supposed to be subservient. And the conversation goes on as to what Paul meant. Now, let us look at this photo here. If you're in Jamaica, if you're in Africa, if you are in England, you know what that is. Now, what is here is a symbiotic relationship. Now, I'm not sure if you have the ability to open your mics to interface with me. I'm not sure if that was disabled. But here we see a cow and a bird. And listen to me. You, on the surface, you will think that this cow and this bird, the contrast is vast. A bird and a cow. Now, you know the relationship here. There's a symbiotic relationship here. The cow provides sticks for the bird. The bird is hungry. So the bird flies down and rests on the cow, and he consumes the ticks. So this is the relationship that they have. One provides the other with something. So the cow has sticks that becomes a nuisance to him or her. And the cow needs a relief of these sticks. So here comes this particular bird, swim or flies onto the cow and relieves that cow of the nuisance of the tick. There is a symbiotic relationship. And in like manner, within the couple's system, husband and wife, there is a symbiotic relationship where the wife provides the man with something, and the man or the husband provides the wife, the husband provides the wife with something, and the wife provides the husband with something. And this is a symbiotic relationship. Notice this one. This one is even more spectacular. The bird is in the mouth of the crocodile or the alligator. And you may think that this crocodile is going to eat that little bird. In fact, he is so small in comparison to the crocodile or the alligator that one bite, and he's done. But he will never close his jaw on the bird because the bird is providing him a service. He's going to remove the ticks from the mouth of the alligator, of the crocodile. He's going to remove some parasites. And as a result of that, they have this relationship. I scratch your back and you scratch my back. And without this symbiotic relationship, then they have no purpose being together. And it is so within the couple's system. Now, the Bible says, husbands, love your wife, and wife, respect your husband. One day I went to visit a couple, and what I'm going to share with you here, I have permission to share it. I went to visit an old couple, and I went to really dialogue with them, give them communion. And I said, so how are you doing? And they said, Pastor, me not doing right, you know. If you know, I work hard, I change him, I feed him, I make his porridge for him in the morning. I bathe him because, you know, he's older and he cannot do certain things. And Pastor, I don't get any appreciation. I don't get any appreciation, Pastor, not even a thank you. And she went on to indicate how low her levels of marital satisfaction was, and how she was dissatisfied in the marriage, in the relationship. It is an older couple. And then I said, wow, I'm sorry to hear. And then I went on to the man and I said to him, well, tell me, what's up? How are you doing? And he said, Pastor, this young woman, her mouth long, listen to me, she disrespectful, you know, Pastor. Pastor, you see her talking nice to you here, so when you see how she treats me, she not respecting me, Pastor. So me don't know what she talking about, that I am not giving her any appreciation and love. They were in a crazy cycle. The woman wants appreciation and love, and the man wants respects. And they move into a crazy cycle. And there are many relationships at Croydon, many relationships in Jamaica, many relationships in our church, where it is a crazy cycle, where the woman is not loved, she's not appreciated, she doesn't feel loved, and she's crying out for love, and the man doesn't feel respected. And as a result of that, they enter into a cycle that family ecologist Dr. Emerson tells us is a crazy cycle. It is a cycle because it goes on and on and on. And when it is not stopped, what happens is that there is low levels of marital satisfaction. There is low levels of parental satisfaction. The children don't want to remain in the house because the house is dysfunctional. Once there is dysfunction in the couple subsystem, the relationship with the husband and wife, there is going to be problems within the sibling subsystem. There's going to be problems with parenting, and the home is going to be a dysfunctional home. And there are many dysfunctional homes in our churches today, even at Croydon. Am I talking to you? I don't want to preach, it's a seminar. But are you in a crazy cycle? Ask yourself this question. Am I in the crazy cycle? Am I in a cycle? Are you loved wife? Do you feel like your husband loves you, whether he's an elder, whether he's the pastor, whether he is the deacon, whether he is, do you feel loved by your husband? Husband, do you feel respected by your wife? Do you feel like man, like you have gumption, like, sorry, gumption is a Jamaican word, a Jamaican term here. Do you feel man? Do you feel respected when you come home? Or does she nags and criticize you? And does she say all manner of things about you? You don't want to be at the home anymore. You prefer go out and be on the streets with your with your boys or your friends and so on. You come to church, but you smile and you sit together, but at home it's a crazy cycle. It is dysfunctional. You all don't get along well. The children know it very well. The children know that you're pretending in church. And brothers and sisters today, this is the state of many of our families within the church. This is the state. This is the state. I need to ask you this question. You know, one day my wife approached me and she said to me, Joel, I feel satisfied in our relationship. I feel like you, I feel like you, I feel loved and appreciated. And I said, wow, you have made my day. My marital satisfaction is high. And I will tell you there's a correlation, as I have said before, between with high marital satisfaction with husband and wife and parental satisfaction. And for some of us, we criticize the children and we say they're not doing what they're supposed to do, but we need to fix up our system. The foundations of family love, the foundations of family therapy, it is within that text in Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 33. Husbands, love your wives, and wives, reverence your husband. Now, this is a disrespected man. You see him? Many men in the church are disrespected. I got a call recently to do therapy with a couple. And I said, what is the problem? And they said, Pastor, my wife no respect. She does what she wants. And I asked him, do you love her? Does she feel loved? Well, Pastor, I don't know about that, but me want her to respect me. So can you make her respect me? And I said, well, we would have to work on that together. But for many men, they are like this man right here with his wife. And for many wives, this is how it is. The husband is brutal. The husband is critical, judgmental, unloving, and very, very unsympathetic, doesn't know how to love his wife. The children see it. And as a result of that, the home is dysfunctional. So the text, you have already read it. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular love his wife without reservation. Your substantive role as a husband, Pastor Smith, Elder Francis, and the list goes on of the men who are here, who are married, and for the men who want to get married. Your substantive role is to love your wife, to learn the art of loving your wife, to pray to God about love, because sometimes they don't act lovingly. Sometimes you just don't want to even treat them gentle and nice because they can be so miserable. Hello, am I talking to a wife here? But your substantive role in your prayer life in the morning, in your devotions, you need to say, God, teach me how to love my wife. Teach me how to love her. Lord, let me grow in my love to her. Teach me how to do it. And so we have the crazy cycle, but the goal is to move from the crazy cycle onto the rewarded cycle. We don't have time to get into the energizing cycle and the rewarded cycle, but now when a husband chooses to come across lovingly, even though he feels disrespected, he can prevent the crazy cycle from spinning out of control. So there is a punishment. So you disrespect me, listen to me, I go punish you, I am going to punish you. I know you want a sense of closeness to me. I know you want to feel cherished, and I'm not going to give you that love. And when that happens, the crazy cycle spins out of control. When a wife chooses to come across respectfully, even though she feels unloved, she can stop or slow the crazy cycle. And the woman likely says, you know what? I will teach this man a lesson. Until he learns to love me, I will not give him the respect that he deserves. On the other hand, life gets insane when a husband says, I am not going to love that woman until she starts showing me some respect. I'll not talk to her. So you give her the quiet treatment or you stonewall. as it is in family life terms. Likewise, madness reigns when a wife says to herself, I am not going to respect that man until he earns my respect and start loving me the way he should. I'll teach him a lesson. And it goes out of control. And I will tell you today that women have higher trait neuroticism than men. So women have more negative emotions per unit of stress. And as a result of that, a woman is more likely to have a harsh startup than a man. However, men are more likely to stonewall. If the pressure becomes tense, he will just take his car key, leave the house, and go and take a drive. Or say, woman, don't talk to me. Unless you're able to respect me, may not talk to you. I am not talking to you. And you know the crazy cycle spins out of control. The secret to building a happy relationship is to recognize when you are on the crazy cycle, or when you are not communicating, when you are in some level of conflict. Now, here is it. Now, what does it mean to love a wife? Remember, to love your wife is a sacred duty. Now, I am not only saying that. John Gottman, renowned family therapist and author, he indicated that men who pay particular attention to loving their wives not only have higher marital satisfaction, but they have higher parental satisfaction, and their stress levels are low. Now, that is clinical research. Now, what does it mean to love a woman? Because sometimes the Bible says to love your wife, but what does it mean to love a wife? A wife is a complex being. Her biological makeup is different from ours. What does it mean to love the wife? What does it mean, brothers and sisters, to love a wife? Young man, you are here and you are listening and you are not married as yet. You need to know what it means to love a wife. Because if you're going to take on a wife, you need to know how to love her. You need to know how to play her like a guitar. You need to know how to come across in loving ways where she can feel so satisfied in you. Number one, there's an acronym here called C, closeness. She wants to feel close, and not just when you want sex. Now, love for a woman is closeness. And on Wednesday, there is a night we're going to talk about intimacy, where you, with children, as in parenting, and with intimate partner relationships also. But we are going to talk about that more in depth. Now, closeness, she wants to feel close, and not just when you want to have sex. There are some men who put their game on from the morning, wash plates, and because their mind is on something, they want something later. So they beguile the wife, and they become kind, and they become kind and loving and close, but it's just because they want to have sex. A wife quickly picks that up and says to her, is sex you want? Your mind is on. Something is up. Since you get so close to me and kind and gentle, you want something. But loving your wife means that you are close to her. Closeness is the signs of love for a woman, where she talks, where you are open to her, where you are kind in your words and pleasant in your thoughts towards her, and you communicate your thankfulness towards her. When you challenge her in non-critical way, because she needs to be challenged as well. So see, open. She wants to be open to her and not closed. acting angry and disinterested. Now, the more you act angry with the wife and disinterested and stonewall, is the more she grows or draws away from you emotionally. And the more that is repeated, what happens is that she draws from you, and then once the connection and the closeness is no longer present, what you have is a silent divorce. And there are many of our couples within the church, they have already been divorced. It is not yet made public in the courts or to the church, but they have already been divorced. There is no sense of levity, as some people would say, among them or between them. And because silently once you draw away from the wife and you are not open and you act disinterested and closed, the more this is practiced, is the more her emotions are drawn away from you. And as a result of that, marital satisfaction is lowered and the chances of divorce becomes higher. So she wants you to be open to her and not closed, acting angry or disinterested. Men are more likely to stonewall, behave quiet, give them the silent treatment as a means of punishment. Let us continue. C, or okay, let us continue. You, don't try to fix her. Just listen and be considerate when she's upset. Now, don't try to fix your wife. You are not the Holy Spirit. Anytime one man told me that, one man who was getting married told me that, you know, he's going to he loves his wife because she's smaller and she can be dominated. And I said, well, you are going to be surprised. And he said he has not received her how he wants her, but now that she's in his house, he's going to fix her. And he never ended up fixing her. Luckily, they received therapy and they were on a better course. But understand her. Don't try to fix her. When you try to fix your wife, it causes more conflicts. Listen to her appreciatively. Now, I have noticed a technique that is done, and this is from the experts. When a wife there are some phrases that a husband should remove from his vocabulary as a husband. You always, you never. What about when you but? Those you need to remove from your vocabulary. If your wife wants to, sometimes my wife is telling me something and I have permission to tell you what I'm telling you. And my wife wants to tell me the comma and the full stops. If she's recording an accident, she will say, and Joel, listen to me, there was a white car and the car was driving about 30 miles per hour. And then there was a white building over there. And then she wants to tell me every single detail about the event. And I'm saying, Minerva, just tell me what happened. I am okay. I don't need to know all of this. I don't need to know that. Get to the point. And she will say, you know what? I'm not even bothered talking to you anymore because you don't want to listen to me. So I have a new technique. I will say, all right, sweetheart, tell me more. I'm listening. Ah, yes. I understand. And when I use this phrase, tell me more, I'm listening. Listen to me. Which woman don't want you to listen to her? And that phrase, what it does, you notice it will get shorter. What she said is getting shorter because she has your attention. But understand her. Listen to her complaints. Listen to her cries. And try to give redress. Listen appreciatively to her. Hello. Understand her. Understand why she gets upset and why. Pray for her. hold her hand and pray for her. So P, peacemaking. There is power in saying, honey, I am really sorry. Now, there are some wives who are just waiting for their husbands to say, I'm sorry. They have not said it in years because they are always right. Peacemaking. Honey, I'm sorry. I should not have done that. Not only to your spouse, but you could say you're sorry to your children as well. Now, can you imagine when Brother Francis' son, I'm just using Brother Francis because two people I know here is Pastor Smith and Elder Francis. And so if I use them, it's not nothing that I know about them, I'm just using them. And when his son, Elder Francis' son, sees how he treats mommy, how he understands her, how he relates to her, he's teaching his son how to be a husband. He's teaching his son how to be a man. And that's where the young boy needs to know how to be a husband and how to be a man. It is from his father and his mother. Yes, his mother. Now listen to me. When elder son sees how his father relates to his mother and he says, I'm sorry, listen, I'm going to try better. He's learning how to be a husband. Are you with me? So peacemaking, there's power in saying, when you tell a woman, I'm sorry, listen to me. That is a strong currency of love to her. So I'm sorry, peacemaking. Don't quarrel with her. Don't be tit for tat with her. Pastor Rufus Anderson, I interned with him, and he said, Joel, never you quarrel with a woman. Never you, if she tells you A and you tell her, if you tell her A, she's going to tell you B, and if you tell her C, she's going to tell you D, and she's going to, you cannot beat her at a quarrel, so don't quarrel with them. Listen to me, be a peacemaker. And you will surprised to see how the relationship improves. We are coming down. Loyalty. Always assure her your love and commitment. Sternberg triangle of love talks about the love triangle. One end of the love triangle is commitment, another end is friendship, and another end is passion. Now, all relationships, and we will be dealing with the singles, particularly very soon, and all relationships should be approached through the lens of friendship. When you don't approach love relationship or mate selection through the lens of friendship, chaos happens. Now, this is a theory from Robert Sternberg, his 1988 work. It is very true. I use it as a model when doing premarital counseling and talking to singles. So love assure her your loyalty and commitment. The variable of commitment to a wife represents love. If you are committed to your wife and she knows that you are important to her, by the way, the next person after your commitment to the Lord, it is your commitment to your wife. And when you show that you are committed to her, and it is not only done in words, it is done in actions. One day, I had a committee meeting, embellishment and construction committee meeting, that I needed to be present. Big decisions was to be made in the local church regarding the building of the church. Money had to be spent. We had to meet in the committee, then take it to the board and to the members meeting. And I had to be there. But my wife wanted me. She needed my presence. I knew I could have that meeting could have been postponed. But that time she needed me, and I called it off. I said, I'm not able to make it. And the member said, Pastor, thank you so much. We were not able to. But to show that she is priority, that you are committed to her. If you show your wife that you're committed to her in words and action, it represents as love to her. That's how you love her. So young man, you're getting married, you want to get married, you need to understand the level, the variable of commitment. And E, esteem. Your wife wants you to honor her and cherish her. Now, when your wife knows that you are In Jamaica, they would say a little goat. You are Billy Goat. You just go around, you know, she cannot trust you. You have given her every reason to distrust you. It becomes harder for her to receive love and accept love from you because her heart is not in place. But when you esteem her and you are loyal to her and you cherish her, listen to me, and you treat her the way the Lord wants you to treat her, God is happy. Relational health is taking place right there. So this is for the husbands. This is how you love your wife. There are many more, but these are 6. If you follow these, you are going to love your wife and you're going to have higher marital satisfaction. Now, our time is coming to an end. We have already maxed out our little time. We are coming down. Tell me how much time I have left. Now, check up for the wives. What does it mean to respect a husband? Now, there are many wives who say, what does that mean? Does it mean I have to walk on eggshells? Does it mean that I must, when he comes home, take a basin of water and clean his feet as in the days of old? What does it mean to reverence a man? One lady told me, Pastor, I do not know what that means. I need to be taught because I have not been raised in a place, in a home where my father was respected. I do not know what that means. And ladies, the way you respect never you disrespect your husband in the presence of your son, you are having much negative consequences for him, not only for your husband, but for your son. You teach your son, wives, expectations of a wife by the way you treat your husband. Now, C, conquest. Recognize and thank him for his desire to work. A job for a man is not only a job. I will tell you, a job for a man is not only a job. It's his sense of ego, his purpose. It is his sense of worth. A job for a man is very important. When a man goes to work in the snow, when it's freezing temperatures, and he goes to work and he comes back late and tired and he does that for his family. Listen to me. This is not something you should take for granted. In respecting a man, you want to recognize this thing of conquest about him. Men are conquerors. He conquered you and he got married to you. Recognize and thank him for his desire to work. Listen to me. Thank him. Thank him for his desire to work. Say, dear, I appreciate the fact that you, although the weather is bad, and although sometimes your back is hurting, and sometimes you have body pains, but you still go out there to work, to earn a living so that we could be supported. Don't think I don't appreciate. I appreciate it. I love you the more. When you tell that to a man, listen to me, men have ego, and I will tell you, contrary to popular belief, men need ego. Only when it grows out of proportion, it becomes a problem. But men have ego and men need ego. Don't let anybody fool you. But when you stroke that, and when you recognize it and thank him for it, you are respecting him. You are making him feel like a man. H, hierarchy. Thank him for his motivation to protect you and provide for you. Similarly to point number 1, to conquest. Thank him for his motive. When he hears a noise outside and he takes his machete, or he takes his licensed firearm, or he takes his wood or his baton and he goes and he said whap whap whap, and he says, wow, what is that? And he comes back inside and he said, darling, it's only a lizard, or it's only a creature somewhere, but I needed to protect. Listen to me, thank him for that. When he walks with you on the road and he puts you on the inside and he puts himself on the outer side, he's trying to protect you. When he ensures that your car tire is well inflated and he services your vehicle because he doesn't want you to have an accident on the road. Don't let that pass you by, wife. Recognize it. Thank him for that. Listen to me. When he repairs your tire and he said, there, I have serviced the car for you. Listen to me. I just want you, listen to me. Give him a kiss. Don't let that pass you by. Are you with me? So you need to do that. And A, authority. Acknowledge his desire to lead you. I want to say that there are many, and I may sound unorthodox, and I may sound traditional, but I stand on the Bible. The man heads the home. The man is the priest. The man acts in love to his wife and children. He's with his wife, the authority of the home. There are too many wives who undermine their husband's leadership at home. And of course, if the husband doesn't want to lead, then somebody has to lead. But there are men who are trying their best and their wives just undermine them. They don't believe that the man is the head. And in postmodern cultures, this is becoming more prevalent because many of our members are onto feministic philosophies where everybody is equal and the man is not, we are both heads. And of course, the wife has her part and she is co-ruler and co-chair with her husband, but the man is the head. And the Lord designed it to be like that. And we must never move away from that premise. We must never exegete that text to mean what it doesn't mean. And listen to me, a woman who is under the subjection, and I use the word subjection, yes, I know many will be offended, of a loving man, of a Christ-like man, is a wonderful woman. Is a woman who is at peace. Notice what I said. The woman who is under the leadership of a husband who is loving and godly and Christ-like is a blessed woman. And husband, and that is why if you want to that respect to be reciprocated, husband must first love their wives. Okay? So acknowledge his desire. Every man wants to lead his wife. Sometimes we overpower them. You overpower them. And the way you talk to him. Listen to me. We need to listen. If you're a wife or a husband, and there's disrespect flowing from your mouth, you need to remove it from there. Relationships don't do well with disrespect and criticism. And tomorrow we will talk more about that. Now this is very crucial as we come down. Listen appreciatively to his ideas and the advice he wishes to offer. Men have advice. When you listen appreciatively to his advice, you are respecting him. I heard a story of a man who was a mechanic. His wife was a guidance counselor. She received travel and upkeep from the government. And she wanted to buy a new vehicle. The husband told her, I am a mechanic. I know the better vehicles. So I would suggest that you buy a Toyota. Now, this is in Jamaica. So it's Toyota and Nissan and Mitsubishi in terms of the more common, easily maintained vehicles. If the case was in England, we'd be talking about a Peugeot or a Ford, or you know the brands well. And her friends told her, listen to me, buy a Kia something. And she went to her husband and said, listen, I know you said to buy a Toyota because they're easy to maintain, you know, but I prefer the Kia. She listened to her friends. She bought the Kia. It destroyed the man's confidence. Well, you know what happened? Those were the days when Kias were giving plenty problems. of engine problems, and the inevitable occurred. But when a man tells you, and he gives you his advice and his insights into matters, listen appreciatively to it. It is a way that you respect him. And you may not have to agree with it, but just to listen appreciatively to the advice and the ideas that he has. Don't say you're an idiot, you didn't go to school, you don't know what you're talking about. This is disrespect. Our relationship, value his desire to be your friend and stand shoulder to shoulder with him. When you stand shoulder to shoulder with your man, with your husband, you are respecting him. You're not the person to ridicule him in church. When they are making fun of him in church, you're not the person to participate in that. You are not having it. Your man must look like a man. And you're not going to ridicule him in public because you are standing shoulder to shoulder with him. So value his desire for him to be your friend and stand shoulder to shoulder with him. That's the way you respect him. And S, sex, respond to his need for you sexually. There are too many ladies who have locked up shop. There are too many ladies who tell their husbands, use your hand this time, nothing for you. And they sleep on one side of the bed. And the husband sleeps on the other side of the bed. Listen to me. Respond to his need for you sexually. Man sees sex differently from a woman sees sex. And when a man is well watered where sex is concerned, and when you avail yourself, and of course, according to Ellen White, sex should be in moderation. We must not abuse sex, and the animalistic passions must not take hold of our relationships, but respond to his need for you for sex. One man told me, Pastor, my wife has me on a schedule once per month, and sometimes it's once every 2 months. And for me to only get or to receive some intimacy, I have to beg, I have to plead, I have to do all kinds of things. That is not respect. And of course, you will tell me there's a reason why she's doing that. But I will tell you, if we can respond or interface with the husbands with these 5 codes or principles, your respect for your husband would have increased. Similarly, if the husbands could interface with their wives in a loving way using these 6 tips, I will tell you, your marital satisfaction is going to improve. Now, as we wind down, no matter how depressing or irritating my spouse might be, my response is my responsibility. You have a responsibility for your response and how you relate to her. Don't say it's because she was sharp to me that I behaved like that. You are a Christian husband. In the ultimate sense, your marriage has nothing to do with your spouse. It has everything to do with your relationship with Jesus. This is family ecologist, Dr. Emerson. Now, listen to this very carefully. In the end, your spouse does not cause you to be the way you are. He or she only reveals it. Amen. He or she only reveals it. So sometimes we say, this person get the worst out of me. No, they reveal the worst out of you. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to stop screen sharing and just give my closing. I will tell you today that when husbands love their wives in the presence of the children, it is a ministry. And when wives respect and honor their husbands in the presence of the children, it makes for good family relations. You want to challenge and have improved family relations? Let us start with Ephesians 5:33. I guarantee you, there are many of our men who do not know what it means to be a husband and what it means to love a wife. They see it not only from their fathers, but in church. When Pastor Shillingford treats Sister Shillingford in a particular way, the men in the congregation know that this is how you should treat your wife. It is a ministry. There's a correlation with love relationships in the couple system and parental satisfaction. Ephesians 5:33 is not only talking about man and woman, it talks about children. It implicates children also. When there is dysfunction with mommy and daddy, dysfunction spreads to the children. It becomes an unhappy home. I will tell you that girls who are raised in dysfunctional homes, they are more likely to emerge promiscuous, married early, and divorced. Fathers who abdicate and leave and divorce, the earlier that girl experiences an abdication from the father, it is the more detrimental it is to her. And I will tell you, we have to take husband and wife relationships more serious if we are going to grow in our churches, if we are going to, the church is a sociological order that teaches the community how to live. And if Croydon cannot set that example to its wider community, and our family life is just as it is in the world outside, then we have a problem. We have to take seriously our responsibilities as husbands and as wives. We need to know our function and role, what it means. And afterwards, brothers and sisters, we need to pray to God to teach us, Lord, not only for that, but teach me how to be a better father to my children. Teach me to be a better husband to my wife. Teach me to be more respectful to my husband. Teach me to be a better mother. It is a spiritual act, not only a psychological premise within the discipline of family therapy, which is very good, but we have to combine two disciplines, the family therapy and theology, to have a good model for family enrichment, family satisfaction, marital satisfaction. These are my words to you, and now it is time for questions and answers.
Yes, if anyone of the listeners have any questions, needing any feedback, you're free to unmute yourself and pose those questions to Pastor Shillingford. No one wants to speak. We even though the program says from 7 to 8, we have a 1.5 hour time slot, so we can go up to 8:30. So feel free to ask any questions you would like to ask Pastor Shillingford. The session for today was really informative. So much information to really take in. Well, for me, what I
think there's a hand. Brother Edwards has raised his hand.
Brother Edwards.
Yes.
Go ahead, Brother Edwards. You can unmute your mic and you can speak.
You got to unmute, Brother Edwards. You got to unmute.
Yes, Brother
All right,
Edwards.
I'm here.
Yes.
Yeah. What is the reason that some men carry on the way that the father behaved, knowingly how it affected you as a child, but you carry that forward and doing the same thing to your children? Can anyone break that cycle without knowing God?
Very good questions, Brother Edwards. And I will say there are non-Christians who have better family relations, better marital satisfaction, better parents than Christians. So it is there. So there are people who take family life very seriously and they want to do better. And whether you are Christian or not, and you have a desire to have better relations, then by practice you are going to get it. People seek therapy, people read, people are in long-term marital enrichment programs, and they engender better family relations. As it relates, and you made a very profound point as well, Brother Edwards, the son seeing the father and the impact it has on himself. Now, the way we are spoken to and relate to, our brains become hardwired to believe a particular thing. So when new neurological pathways are formed into the brain, when we are spoken to in a way that is loving and kind, gentle, and so on. So having been used to that as a child, children learn more from mimicking parents. And what happens, that behavior becomes reciprocated in his own relationship because that is what he knows. Children will leave what they know unless intervention takes place. And sometimes he believes it's okay. That's just how it is. Relationships don't work. And as a result of that, that is why we need to have very profound levels of premarital counseling. The pastors do it, professionals do it, and so on. But we need to prepare people, take their family of origin within consideration. We need to understand the family of origin, whereby this man comes from, and takes the family of origin whereby this woman came from, put them together and see if they are going to mesh. I know it can be a difficult task, but as a trained professional, that needs to be done. And if you are getting married here, if you're a young man, you are single, you're a young lady, there are some things from your family of origin that needs to be trashed. And there are some things that from your family of origin that needs to be kept. And you need to be serious about that. You need to be serious about that. And I don't want to take too long on this point. The family goes through 8 developmental stages, from the premarital stage to the retirement stage. There's a stage where it comes where the family lives with adolescent. That's in the middle of family development. What happens is that the family grows and see mommy relates to daddy and daddy relates to mommy. It becomes hardwired in their brains, and that's how they are going to do it. And it doesn't matter if they know it's not good or good or whatever the case is, that's how they are going to relate. And that is why our churches need to become hubs for sound family relations. And it's a good tool for evangelism. We need to take premarital counseling more seriously. The General Conference has a mandate. The General Conference Family Life Department has something neat and tidy there. The areas to look at. And I think if we follow them, we are going to make fewer mistakes in preparing couples for marriage.
May I ask
I have answered your question appropriately.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
May I ask a question, please, Pastor Shillingford?
Yes.
And it's just a comment I'd like.
Can I see your face, please? Are you able to show your face?
No, I've just got in from the car and I'm just disheveled looking rather.
Not a problem, not a problem.
So if you don't mind, I'll just speak. Sorry.
Sure.
Yes, a question was asked by a man who had of a counselor who had been divorced, who had been married some 3 times. Of course, he was divorced, and the question that he asked was, "What happens to love after you get married?" Would you comment on that, please?
Yes, very, very, very good question. And by the way, if you are divorced, your chances of a divorce as you approach remarriage is higher.
Yeah.
Very higher. So there is something called marital marriage enrichment plan. So for example, the man courts the lady and he sings songs and walks for a mile from Croydon to wheresoever. And she feels so loved, she feels so special. And when they get married, him not do none of them the thing. Sorry for my Jamaican patois. And that is why after marriage, I stay with my couples. So in premarital counseling, they must make a marital enrichment plan. So I need to know how you are going to maintain a love relationship with this young lady that you're going to marry. And don't tell me, because when people get married, they go after life, paying the bills, building a home, buying land. And that love aspect of things take a back burner. And that is why we need to engage into a marital enrichment plan. As soon as I am here, I'm going to the Pegasus Hotel with my wife because it's part of the marital enrichment plan. So what is happening? You need to have a plan on a weekly basis, on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, and on a yearly basis. This is your marital enrichment plan with the children and your spouse, because marital satisfaction has to be maintained. So here is what you're going to do. As a couple, husband and wife, we just get married. We're going to plan in our week what we are going to do 3 times per week. So my family, 3 times per week, the finances are tight. So we do something which are very cost effective. So we take 3 times per week, we go out, either play badminton, jogging, just having fun and relaxation and so on. And you would surprise to see that when that happens, a sense of closeness is further engendered between my wife and myself, and the children and us. So we have this on a weekly basis. On a monthly basis, there is something that we look forward to for a month. We go out of parish or do something. On a yearly basis, we are going to the hotel. We're going to take a vacation. And so on a daily basis, I need to know that I look Minerva in the eye and say, love, my dear, listen to me. I am very happy that the Lord blessed me with a wonderful woman like you. And I will give her a kiss in front of the children, pull her tongue, listen to me, touch her bottom nicely. Even if the children are looking, they need to see that too. Hello, am I talking to you? And when this love relationship is engendered and it is facilitated throughout the course of the family life, listen to me, you are maintaining love. And you run the risk of forgetting about each other and running after life if you don't have a family enrichment plan. If you are married here, put sex in your week. You need to have that. You need to get there. If you are married with children, you need to cater to the emotional needs of the children. Thank you so much. I hope I have responded appropriately.
Yes, thank you. And I think that that you're actually saying as well the importance of communication. And I was quite privileged to have sat in a seminar of Gary Chapman. And Gary Chapman, and he speaks about the 5 love languages and being the secret to love that really lasts. So I think what you're saying is really quite powerful, actually. And thank you so much for this very inspirational and session that you've done with us. And I'm actually looking forward to the rest of the week. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, we have Morris who raised his hand. I think we'll take Morris, and we have a question in the chat room, and then we'll close out. So go ahead, Morris.
Yeah, hi, Pastor. You mentioned at the beginning of your presentation this evening that within the period of a generation in Jamaica, the divorce rates had time. Is that correct?
You broke up.
Yeah, I was
Repeat
saying
your question, please.
Yeah,
Repeat your question.
you mentioned at the beginning of your presentation that within a generation, within 20 years, divorce rates within Jamaica had increased 4 times. Was that correct?
Yes, well, there was a gradual increase from 2001 to 2022. There was a gradual increase within the first decade. Within the latter decade, there was an explosive increase. And
right.
I wish I had the statistics to show you. And in 2021 and 2022, it was just so phenomenal.
8,000. So my question is this: you in the response to Brother Edward, you talked about when Brother Edward was talking about generational habits being perpetuated. You mentioned that if a functional family, a family is functioning correctly, then the children are hardwired. So my question is this: if in previous generations the divorce rates were much lower than they are today, that would probably indicate to me that there were a lot of functional families. How comes all of a sudden we have this explosion of dysfunction leading to divorce?
Well, to make this comparison, what you're actually saying is that based on the divorce rates, the hike in divorce rates now in modern times, as opposed to the 60s and 70s and 80s, it simply meant that family life was better within these decades, and which is not true. It is not true. So there are many reasons why people divorce. Longevity in marriage doesn't equate to marital satisfaction. So people stay 20, 30 years married, but they have no marital life. The marital quality is low. Within the past decades, there was secularization of the society had not taken so much greater root as it has taken now in modern times. And as a result of that, with the increase of education for women, and by the way, women are more likely to apply for divorce than men. As the education of women, there was a revolution of education for women within the Caribbean setting. And there is a correlation with educated women and higher divorce rates. Now, so that is one variable. 2, in the 60s and 50s, you know, there was a time within the Catholic Church and where divorce was taboo. And as a result of that, people suffered in silence as opposed to getting a divorce because it was taboo. And I'm talking about within the West Indian culture. Within the United Kingdom, they are much more secular. So there are many reasons, and I'm happy you brought this point up. It is worth noting, it is worth researching, it is worth taking note. So there are various reasons, but it doesn't mean that family life was better then than now. Some things were better as opposed to now, but secularization has taken root within our culture, within our churches, and as a result of that, the divorce rate, and especially the education of women, the empowerment of women, there is a correlation with the divorce rates that we are seeing here. But Mr. Brother Morris,
so people stayed in marriages then, like my parents' generation and beyond that, they stayed in unfulfilled marriages. That's what you're saying?
Yes, some of them stayed in unfulfilled marriage, and some of them had very fulfilled marriages. And Mas Jane knows that Uncle Sam has a woman out there, but she not divorce him. You know, she has to make ends meet. He brings in the bread, and she knows that the family will not be perhaps catered to if she divorces him. So she just plays a blind eye. But now a woman may not stand for that. So we have to check these variables. But one thing that is correct is that marital satisfaction today is on an all-time low within the society, whether it is in the church or in the secular world, and families need help.
Thank you.
And I wouldn't be forgiven if I didn't raise this question in the chat. So we'll take this last question by Mark Burton. What about finances in marriage? What level of competence is required? How does this play into love and respect?
Yes, financial prowess or finances is a variable of marital satisfaction. In fact, if you look at any marital satisfaction scale, the Kansas marital satisfaction scale, the Prepare and Reach marital satisfaction scale, many of them, and I am developing a marital satisfaction scale as well, you will see finance as a variable. Because the finances, it impacts the relationship either positively or negatively. You do not need to be able to manage portfolios and investments and so on. However, what is much needed is transparency as it relates to the family. Transparency, one, and unity as it relates to finances. Relationships work best when man and woman combine income, pay the bills from this combined income. And when I see my money as my wife's money and my wife's money as my money, it is our money to further and advance the family. From my clinical practice in counseling married couples, several of them, the relationships that work better are those where the wife and the husband are transparent with finances. They make a budget together. They plan their financial future. And my money is your money, and your money is my money. We are completely transparent. So it's not necessarily about how much money we make, but more so, of course, we need to make sufficient funds to cater to the needs of the family. But more importantly, transparency, because there's intimacy as it relates to finances. Finances can mess up intimacy and mess up trust. And as a result of that, we need to be careful with the variable of finances. And you know, these things are dealt with in premarital counseling. And that is why we must move from 2 sessions premarital counseling to about 10 sessions. And sometimes pastor may not be able to do so much sessions. He has a church to run. But there are ways and means to be completely furnished and nurtured before you enter into the marriage arena. And might I say, if there is a spouse or partner who doesn't want to submit to the principle of unity in marriage, and you are not yet married, you want to think twice. You want to delay. Don't get into marriage with fundamental problems. They are going to be there after marriage. I think I have said enough. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow we need a couple to practice something. Tomorrow we are hoping to have a couple to practice a technique when things get tough. So I'm hoping that a couple makes themselves available so they can assist in this regard. God bless you.
Yes, thank you very much, Pastor Sillingford. Today's session was really informative. I thoroughly enjoyed it, learned a lot, and I trust that other members of the audience here have learned a lot as well. And we do look forward to tomorrow, which is entitled 4 Destructive Traits that Depict a Divorce. So thank you everyone for turning out, and we look forward to be here again tomorrow evening.
Thank you, and God bless you.